Hello and welcome. Tuesday edition, live Q&A. And I want to just say right out of the gate, if you are a parent or you are a student athlete, you're going to want to get the popcorn out and get ready. You might even want a piece of paper and a pen because what we are going to discuss tonight is going to answer so many of the emails and direct messages and people that I get the opportunity to speak with. They are asking the same question. They are really looking for answers. And we're going to talk tonight about why so many parents are beyond frustrated. In fact, I would even say angry about this whole world of college athletics, particularly college baseball. We're going to discuss that tonight. Why the recruiting landscape is not only getting more and more difficult each and every day, but let's get to some of the answers that you are looking for and you are requesting. That is the purpose for tonight. Before I go any further, I want to make sure that you understand our Tuesday discussions, they are live. They are unfiltered, and your questions will get answered. When you see me put the spectacles on, I am reading the questions that are coming in, whether they be via Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, or obviously YouTube. Want to ask and encourage each and every one of you that are watching live as well as in the future, please go to the YouTube channel. I want you to do two things. I want you to subscribe. It's free. And I want you to engage with this video. If you agree, if you disagree, if you're upset, if you want to challenge anything that I'm about to say, please do so via YouTube. It is free and it helps grow our community. And it is our community. I go to great lengths to make sure that we share things collectively, make things available for parents and student athletes. And I think the time has come to take the gloves off. And I'm going to challenge anyone within this space, anyone, even if you feel like you have all the answers and you vehemently disagree with me, contact me. We'll talk about it. I'll bring you on to a podcast. Anyone that feels like anything I'm about to share is incorrect, come on and share your thoughts and why you think anything I'm about to say is incorrect. Parents, you are absolutely bewildered, befuddled, you're angry, you're upset. Why is the ground constantly shifting? Why is the environment constantly changing? How can I expect an 18 to 19-year-old? Why do they have to be so big? Why do they have to focus on size and strength and speed? Why is there no development? Where is the equal ground for a 18 to 19-year-old when they're being asked to compete against 22, 23, 24, and someday soon 25-year-old athletes? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. That's what we're going to discuss. I encourage you to make sure you send your questions in. I want to say hello to all of my regular viewers. The community is definitely growing. Consider this a fast-growing community that you can attach yourself to and get all the questions that you want answered honestly and directly. First and foremost, there is no such thing as an all-knowing, all-powerful. This is something that is strictly predicated. When I'm talking to you, it's because I've spoken to people within the game that I respect and that I acknowledge have information, and I want to share that information. I'm getting information from former major league executives, current people within the sport of baseball at the Major League Baseball level, college coaches, all levels, all divisions, former college coaches, those people that I respect their opinions, and I really respect their insight and foresight with regard to the sport, particularly at the Major League level as well as the levels of college baseball. Want to say hello to Keith. How are you, sir? William McGurk. I'm sure you're in the sunny confines, not so warm state of Florida. I want to encourage you that if you have a question at any point during this discussion this evening, you want to get my response to that, please put it over here in the questions, and I will put the glasses on and read from them. Folks, it's time to be candid with you when it comes to college baseball recruiting, college athletic recruiting. It's not in any way, shape, or form resembling what most people think it is. And that goes for the alphabet people, the people that are begin with the letter N and they want to send you the form letter. Most people that are in this space do not understand what is ahead of them. Topics like postgraduate, reclassification, Major League CBA. What does this have to do with your student athletes' college baseball recruiting? I wrote a book 3 years ago called The Shift, and I basically said there are changes coming on the horizon, and the changes are going to begin at the major league level, and they will have a direct impact on all of college baseball, from JUCO college baseball, NAIA college baseball, NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3 baseball. It is all coming to fruition. So when you are a parent and you are frustrated and you think that the ground is being pulled out from underneath you, this is not a rug pull per se. This is that a lot of people that are in the so-called college recruiting space, they're not up to date and they don't have the ability to kind of foresee the future. And that is where your student athlete is at a tremendous disadvantage. I am not going to call people out. I am not going to call agencies out. That's not my way of doing things. But I want you to understand when you're being told that it's not important or it's not important for your student athlete, that is not an answer. That is just the inability to provide a response. My thing to most parents and most student athletes is you must be proactive and you must choose your course of action. You can't chase, because sooner or later you're going to be chasing an old narrative, which is the case today. Let me begin by saying in 2009 through 2015, what I will refer to as the glory years of college baseball recruiting for a lot of the people within the space of recruiting, services, travel organizations, things of that nature. During that time period, a lot of the underclassmen were being aggressively chased. And so you had an 8th grade through junior year of high school where there was a lot of activity with regard to recruiting. And you had college coaches that didn't want to be late to the table, that didn't necessarily agree with recruiting of the younger athletes, but they knew that if they were late to the party, that they'd probably lose out on a lot of the better talented younger athletes. Now, it has no relevance whether those athletes ultimately landed on a college campus. I want to simply bring you back to those days. And during that time period of those aggressive recruiting days, a lot of younger athletes would be asked to go to camp or come on campus, and they were actively being recruited. And while many college coaches felt awkward or out of position, trying to ask a 14 or 15-year-old about making a college decision, what they really were hoping to do was catch lightning in a bottle. And for those athletes that continued to develop, there was no written contract. There was nothing that was etched in stone, but it was kind of a word. A college coach would extend an opportunity for a scholarship, and an athlete would rush to social media and say, I'm proud to have committed to school X or Y or Z. Those days, especially the aggression with regard to the younger athletes, began to fizzle in and around 2016 through 2019, right before COVID. And that was because a lot of the athletes that were committing early didn't really end up at the schools that they had committed to. There was a lot of discussions from college coaches. Either college coaches didn't feel that those athletes still projected or fit their programs, and conversely, some families or athletes began to, I will say, seek greener pastures. So from 2009 to 2019, we had a decade where a lot of the college baseball recruiting was a lot of hype. It was more sizzle than steak. a lot of aggression with younger athletes, which made tournaments, which made showcases, which made recruiting services very, very aggressive. And you started to see a lot of the engagement between services and agencies and teams would be hyping up their college commitments. You would see that on marketing materials such as websites and things of that nature. Now, when COVID hit, obviously there was a complete standstill. But more importantly, it is very, very important for parents to understand that along the COVID line, there was a CBA, a new CBA in 2022. So 2020, 2021, we had COVID. In 2022, when the world emerged back into some form of normalcy, we had a reduction in the rounds of the Major League Draft. We went from 40 to 20. We started to see college coaches starting to deal with name, image, and likeness. We started to see college coaches gearing up their rosters with all of those extra years of eligibility that began to be implemented. And what that did was it put a wrench into the recruiting of the younger student athletes. Suddenly, there were athletes. JUCO was getting 2 years of extra eligibility. NCAA was getting an extra year of eligibility. Same with NAIA. So now there started to be this backlog of older athletes, which prevented the younger athletes from getting involved. Now, coincidentally, with the reduction of the number of draft picks, we also had subtraction of 42 minor league teams. And with that attrition, what started to happen is there was not as many athletes leaving the game of college baseball. They were staying in college baseball. And the reason for that was the emergence of name, image, and likeness and the extra years of eligibility. With the subtraction of minor league teams, college teams began to see and sense that Major League Baseball was beginning to transition the developmental years, meaning short season teams like rookie ball, New York Penn League, Pacific Northwest, which was short season, June through August or June through early September, minor league baseball was gone. And they were starting to see that the developmental of the younger athletes that would typically be drafted out of high school or would typically go to these short season minor league teams was now being led and basically placed in the hands of college baseball. Now, let's fast forward to 2026. There is a new CBA looming in 2027. And what you need to understand is there will be a further reduction within the rounds, potentially going from 20, possibly 15, many feel 10. Every Major League Baseball executive, both current and former, is essentially screaming from the top of their lungs to those that will listen. We are going to pass the baton of development to college baseball, and the entryway into professional baseball is now a minuscule. It used to be the opportunities for professional baseball were plentiful. You would have 40 rounds back in my day, as high as 60 rounds. Now we may be looking at 10. The reduction of drafting high school baseball players. To this point, the draft, Major League Draft, is open to those high school graduates, or you're turning 21 or have 3 years of 4 years in baseball, meaning you're a junior in college or you've turned 21. It might go to similar to NBA basketball, where you must go to college for a minimum of 1 year or possibly have an age requirement of 20. Now, that is one of the big pillars of change that college baseball recruiting is going to be operating under. So, parents, the answer to question 1 on your quiz: why is college baseball forcing 18 and 19-year-olds to be as big, as fast, as strong as the 22 to 25-year-olds. And that is because if you are a college coach, particularly at the higher levels of college baseball, and you enjoy your livelihood, and you are, I won't use the word pressured, but you are in a environment where you are paid and compensated to put the best team that you can on the field, and your livelihood depends on it. Are you going to work with the 18 and 19-year-olders, or are you going to work with the 22 through 24, possibly 25-year-olds? Answer that question honestly. Next, what I want to make sure that every parent begins to understand. When you talk to parents all across the country, now I've spoken on this topic ad nauseum about postgraduate or reclassification. Ask yourself, why are so many travel ball organizations creating these IMG-like academies, these post-grad schools that are located in Arizona, Texas, Virginia, Florida? They're doing it because it's a way for them to generate income based on the void and the vacuum that is being created, that is going to intensify over the next 4 years. Why are so many people anti-postgrad? Because they don't even know what a true postgrad world is. Speaking for those of us that are in the Northeast, postgraduate academics and athletics have been around for centuries. Not days, not months, not years, not decades, but centuries. They've been very prevalent in sports such as football, basketball, hockey, for decades, for centuries. This has been going on. These schools that are predominantly located in the what I would consider the academic mecca of the Northeast through the Mid-Atlantic, Ivy League schools, Patriot League schools, Nescat schools, Johns Hopkins, Ohio Wesleyan, Emory, they're all on the East Coast. I could rattle off, Swarthmore. I could rattle off so many schools. And these post-grad schools have working relationships from an academic perspective that spans centuries. When somebody tells you or your son it's not worth it, it's because they don't know enough about it. They're not educated enough about it. Gone, Gone, gone are the days where the good old boy network could wink and say, do me a solid and take this guy and redshirt him. Can't do that anymore. Can't stash guys on rosters. You can't call somebody and say, hey, I think this guy's really good. Okay, we'll take your guy, and then he won't make the team, and you'll be able to say you did your job, you earned your money, you got that student athlete into college. Did they really? Did they really do their job? My question is this. Why are so many recruiting services and agencies neglecting the academic component to the college experience? Because they don't know enough about it. Gone are the days where you can email bomb all these coaches in a form letter and send a video and a hype video, and these coaches are just going to take it on the surface and say, that's who we want. What college coaches want is accountability. What college coaches want is dependability. They want your student athlete to make an investment in themselves. The question should not be, what are you going to do to develop my student athlete? The question should be, what type of investment are you willing to make in your college experience for your student athlete? And when I say investment, I am not talking about monetary. I am talking about grades. I am talking about disciplines within the weight room, skill set development, foot speed metrics. Because if we're all being honest, it is about your ability to perform and execute in the role that you are given within a program, a college program. And so tonight's live Q&A is about accountability. It's about investment. So many parents are angry. They're upset. They're disappointed. They don't know who to trust. They don't know where to turn. And I have to tell you, when I get a call from a parent of someone with a 30 ACT or a 25 ACT, and I ask them, are you really trying to trade athletic ability for academic excellence? Many don't even know. They don't have an answer. And if I say to you as parents and you as student athletes, well, you're 6'1" and 155 pounds. If you were the college coach, which athlete would you pick, regardless of age? 6'1", 185 to 195, or 6'1", 155 to 165? Who do you want in your lineup? We need an honest dialogue, an honest discussion. This isn't the college coaches versus the high school athletes. This is not the NCAA trying to make life miserable. This is not the NAIA trying to make life miserable. This is about college athletics simply saying to prospective student athletes, the game is evolving, the game is changing, the game is getting older, it's getting faster, it's getting stronger, it's getting more skilled. When do you want to begin to take accountability for your student athlete to be fully and truly prepared for what is about to hit them at the college athletic level? You can hype an athlete, you can make false promises to athletes. I know a lot of parents that pay a lot of money chasing. They send athletes to people, they send athletes to programs, showcases. You want to know why strength is such a pivotal role? It's not so that you can inflate, someone's size and say, okay, my son is 190 now. He's an athlete. He should be playing Division I. No, it's about understanding that those athletes that are above high school, they have paid the dues. They have paid the price. That whether in the classroom, in the weight room, outdoor doing sprint work, they know what the game looks like. Your high school athlete thinks they know what it looks like. We are so programmed, what I call the hamster wheel. Take lessons, play on a travel team, play tournaments, go to showcases, go to camps, and do that over and over. And we're just chasing the proverbial college carrot. At what point do you want to begin to get off the hamster wheel, take a look around and go, holy cow, look at the size of that guy playing NCAA Division III. Holy cow, look at the skill on that NAIA team where the pitchers are throwing 92 to 94, and those guys are big, they're fast, they're strong, and oh, by the way, they're skilled. We can talk round and round and round about the frustrating points, but I have to tell you that if you put the pieces to the puzzle together, the funnel, the big funnel that used to be 60 rounds in free agents now is going down to 10 rounds. There used to be over 160 minor league teams. Now there might be as many as 90. AAA, AA, and single A. They might eliminate A ball, low A ball. They go down from the 20 to the 10 rounds and they eliminate the high school athletes. You know how inexpensive it is to sign international students, international athletes? Teams can sign athletes internationally as it's currently constituted as young as 16 years old. What if the draft in the new CBA, which they pushed for in 2022 to be an international draft, what if that happens? And suddenly all the athletes that used to get signed at 16 have to find their way to college lineups. I talked to a JUCO college coach today from California, and I spoke to them today for an hour. Do you know that they have international students from China, Japan, Australia, Germany, Europe, Canada, Venezuela? Now, that's not meant to scare anybody. It's meant to tell you that the new collective bargaining agreement that will begin in 2027, at the completion of this year, when Major League Baseball wraps up the 2026 season, the CBA discussions are on tap. What if there's a lockout? What if there's a new international draft? These are topics that relate to college recruiting. And anyone that tells you differently is lying to you. The days of the lines being etched in stone, NCAA Division III, NCAA Division II, NCAA Division I, mid-major, Power 4, Power 5, NAIA Division I, Division II, JUCO Division I, Division II, Division III. Those days are gone. There's no more lines. They're all blurred. College baseball is basically going to begin to replicate what minor league baseball used to be. And you must get in. The only way you could become a big leaguer is if you were a minor leaguer. You couldn't be on the outside and try to become a major leaguer. You had to be on the inside. And once you were on the inside, it took a lot of energy to stay in, because once you were kicked out, it was very hard to get back in. College baseball is going to look a lot like that. Have you ever noticed how many athletes are in the portal that don't find new homes? Why is that? They weren't prepared for the realities of college baseball. Now, I want to let you know, when I say that college is going to look like what minor league baseball used to look like, and you say, oh, what do you mean? Well, short season or rookie ball, that might be NAIA or JUCO baseball, where some athletes, specifically in JUCO, will be there for 2, possibly 3 years, and then move into a higher level, whether that's NCAA Division II or Division I. NAIA, NCAA Division III, we have a lot of migration into Division II, NCAA, and Division I programs. Division I baseball, all baseball, Division I, meaning really mid-majors. Can we even use that term anymore? That Division I profile is where the draft is going to be very draft heavy. If you don't believe me, Google and look at the 2023, the 2024, and the 2025 Major League Draft. How many athletes were NCAA Division I? How many athletes that were drafted were college baseball players collectively, all levels, all divisions, versus high school players? The trend is going in this direction for college players. And when that new CBA hits, a lot of athletes are going to be pushed into the college baseball model. Now, you can disagree with me, but I'm telling you, this is factual. This is reality. And this is why it is important to not get frustrated, to stop chasing. Somebody says you don't need that. That's because they don't know enough about the alternatives. One of the things I take great pride in is if I don't know something, I'll find someone who does know about that, and I will ask. I also will admit when I am wrong. And I will tell you right now, the number one component to college baseball recruiting is you must understand the changes that are coming, factually coming. You can ask any travel ball coach, any college coach. They will tell you, yes, there will be changes to the Major League CBA. Yes, they will have an effect on college baseball. College baseball is going to get older. The game, when it's older, is played better. When it's played better, college coaches have a better opportunity to maintain their jobs. They like their jobs. This is nothing personal. This is factual. Now, with that, I am going to answer questions I want to say hello to, let's see, Nikki, Keith, Billy. Okay, Romans 5:8. My son is talented, but I question his commitment. How realistic is it to expect a 16-year-old to be obsessed with the game and work on his game without a coach? He'll do whatever he's asked, but he doesn't initiate it. He keeps a good attitude, but I don't know if he lacks commitment or just being 16. I want to say shout out to Chinook Seeds also, who is watching live tonight. I want to understand. I want to explain something. When your son is 14 through 16, this whole concept of recruiting 14 to 16-year-olds was always kind of inaccurate in my mind. Like we were asking teenagers, young teenagers, to be in a spot where they really didn't know what they wanted for dinner or breakfast, but yet we were asking them where they wanted to go to college. College is a massive decision. Let's just unplug baseball for a second. Man, oh man, we were asking athletes before they got their driver's license where they wanted to go to college. That wasn't normal. That wasn't right. We've kind of come back to the reality, like when dinosaurs roamed the earth in the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, when college recruiting really began the junior and senior year, when you knew what geography, where you wanted to be geographically, where your girlfriend was going to college, did you want to be close to your parents? What kind of majors were you interested in? College is something that cannot be scripted for a 14, 15, or 16-year-old. Now, when a student athlete at a junior year, a senior year, where they start to make decisions that, you know what, I really like baseball. I'd like to pursue baseball. I'd like to pursue softball. And I really want to try to become the best version of myself. That is when you must plug in to understand. When I say strength training, a lot of people just envision going to the YMCA or the Workout World or Planet Fitness, and they put their blinders on and they just get underneath a lot of weight and they start lifting. I can remember, and a very good friend of mine who's watching tonight, Billy McGuirk, we used to talk about Coach Flynn at Holy Cross from a football perspective. And we talk about Eric Cressy, because Eric Cressy was in Hudson, Mass at the time. And we didn't talk about it because we didn't know how to lift weights. It was because those coaches knew how to evaluate and do a movement screen and understand what your student athletes were capable or where they were deficient. And they needed to learn how to move weights and why they were moving the weights. And oh, by the way, they were taught about things like nutrition, supplementation, sleep, hydration. It was a coordinated effort to be able to help parents and, more importantly, student athletes understand and recognize the value of strength training and what that would give and provide your student with regard to becoming the best version of themselves athletically. Without, we've spent so much time with regard to, and I'm just calling it youth athletics. I'm not calling it travel athletics, youth athletics. We've spent so much time demonizing the process instead of recognizing where the deficiencies are, meaning we're so game heavy and practice light. And when I say practice, I also mean preparation. And preparation, part of that is strength and speed training and skill set repetition. We're game heavy, tournament heavy, and practice preparation light. That's a fact. We need to make a change there. Next, we need to understand that college, again, I want to say for the umpteenth time, if you want to tell me that a college degree is meaningless, that you as a family have the means and you don't really care about your student athlete getting a sports management degree, I can understand that. But I have to push back and say the college experience as a collective whole is the final frontier of childhood. Now, some go into the work world at 18 and they become plumbers and they a vocation. Some become firemen. I get that. That's great. But there's more to the college experience than, just the classroom and just the baseball diamond or the softball diamond. There's that transition from late childhood into early adulthood. And all of those things that a child and a young adult will encounter, relationships, friendships, community, campus. I've spoken at that at length. So what I want you to understand, your frustration is because you are unable to go into ChatGPT or Grok or Google or YouTube and punch in a bunch of words and get your immediate answer. There's not a pill. There's not a powder. There is, however, a process. And I have been stating for years that the process, while most will want to fight against it, the process is exactly what is coming to fruition. What I have been speaking about, the changes that are occurring are not necessarily just being mandated by NCAA or NAIA or the CCCAA, which is the California JUCO version of the NJCAA. It is Major League Baseball. It is the business of baseball. The sport of baseball is the best sport. There is not a breathing human, I can promise you, that loves the sport of baseball more than myself. You can fight me on it. You can debate me on it. You can argue until I'm dead and buried. I will tell you that the sport, I love the sport. I eat it, I sleep it, I dream it, I live it 24/7, 365, much to the chagrin of my wife. Some people think I have a screw loose. And while it may be accurate, the business of baseball is brutal. It's brutal. And it does not care about your feelings. It does not care about what you want or what your dreams are. Many athletes have their dreams stepped on and just absolutely squished. I've seen it with my own, I've lived it. I'm trying to tell parents the pathway to professional baseball has always been small. Well, it just got 10 times smaller or is about to be in 2027. That's a fact that you need to factor in to the whole equation of college baseball recruiting. College baseball is and will be, for the foreseeable future, older, talented, faster, stronger. So the sooner that we come to accept that it is going to demand younger student athletes to understand priorities such as maybe making strength training a part of your process sooner rather than later, skill set development, start taking a more direct engagement, investment, involvement in your own development. Don't leave it at the hands of a coach, of a instructor, or a camp. Be accountable as a family, as an athlete, and learn where you are deficient and work towards making your deficiencies. Coach Tuhig from Hawaii, the work on and the build on, the journal, the work on and the build on journal. Your work on should be 2 to 3 times bigger than your build on. Next, I really want to emphasize this. Reclassification for the sake of trying to, kind of look the part as opposed to actually becoming the part is not going to fool a college coach. I have so many people that will tell me, well, we're going to repeat the 8th grade year. All right, if you do that, that's not going to just create magic and your athlete's going to be ready for the college experience because they're older. Are they better? Are they stronger? Are they faster? Are they more skilled? Just because you reclassed? When somebody tells you that you're at a high school and you should be going to a school like that is just all baseball all the time, are they really doing you a favor or are they delaying your development? I have a couple of athletes that have gone to a baseball academy, a what they call a post-grad school, a baseball post-grad school, which is all the rage right now. Just focus on baseball. Just be a baseball player. You think that's what college is really all about? It's not. So when you are frustrated as a parent, what's the answers? Where can you get the answers? You have to begin to ask the tough questions and you have to demand answers. Gone are the days where you can just take someone's word for it. Meaning, is your summer baseball really developing your student athlete? There are a lot of very high-end programs in the summer, American Legion, travel programs that are switching to a developmental program. Do you know that when I was a sophomore in high school, again, dinosaurs roam the earth, I was a sophomore at Fitchburg High School. I faced Ron Darling, who was a freshman at Yale. That's coming back to fruition. That is going to be your reality. That is going to be a part of the process. As you begin to move forward, the days of the step ladder, the travel ball world of 16U and 17U, it's getting us nowhere. It's getting us nowhere. You must, as a high school junior, you must begin to understand and accept that if you're not facing college caliber players during the summer, can you really expect to be ready for college baseball? Now, you might say to me, well, I can't. My travel team, they play a really great schedule. If they're playing 16U or 17U, are you really playing the best schedule? And then you have to ask yourself, are you really getting better? Can you expect to be ready to play college baseball? So you're going to say to me, well, we can't play in college summer leagues. Some high school athletes are being asked to play college summer baseball. Are we listening to the college coaches when they tell us that the vast majority of their recruiting occurs during college summer baseball? College coaches that join me, they come right out here and say, a lot of our recruiting from June through the middle of July is done within college summer baseball leagues. They are telling us the answers. What can you do to prepare for that? How can you prepare for that? Those are the questions you need to ask. Now, why do you feel that so many schools are beginning to offer, when I say schools, academies? Why so many baseball facilities are beginning to create the post-grad model? Why do you think they're popping up everywhere? And I'm not going to name them by names. You can look in Florida. You can look in Arizona. You can look in Texas, Ohio, Virginia. They're not even actually factual high schools. Academically, the curriculum may leave you questioning, is this really the route we want to take? They're doing it because the void that's being created and is going to be even wider in a bigger scale over the next 2 years. They know a lot of parents are going to feel helpless, and they're just going to say, well, we need another year, so we might as well do that gap year post-grad thing that Walter's been babbling about for 3 years. Okay, you're going to pay a lot of money, and what's your return on your investment? These are the questions you have to ask. You know, you can't say as a parent or you can't say as a student athlete, well, I want to go Division I or Division II. Those days are done. You need to just be focusing on, can I play at the college level? Can I play at the JUCO level? Can I play at the NAIA level? Look at schools like Johnson University. Look at schools like Ottawa, University of the Cumberlands, Reinhardt, Walters State, Lee University. Look at junior colleges in California like Santa Barbara. Look at schools that are in that JUCO world, and look at who is actually playing. So you as parents need to start asking, okay, what is the right path for my student athlete? What type of academic component do I want to make sure that we're taking advantage of? Are we trading our athletic ability for our collective academic/college experience? That is the question. Are we preparing physically, mentally, skill set wise? Are we preparing properly? Are we choosing our path? Are we being held at the mercy of what is only available to us? So I'm going to answer that question in 1 second. Scott, yes. Did I see? And now this is a question that has been being asked repeatedly. I get this email probably 30 times a day. Did I see Division II postpone their vote on a 5th year of eligibility until 2028? Is NAIA still on track to vote in April? How do you see the 5 years and 5 shaking out? Scott, and for all those parents that are asking me, do we want to think it's a coincidence that Division I and Division II at the NCAA level and NAIA have kicked this can down the road to 2028? You think it's a coincidence that the collective bargaining agreement in 2027 and the draft being basically the 2028 draft is going to possibly go to 10 rounds and no high school athletes being drafted in 2028? and they want to vote on that 5th year in 5 years of eligibility, 5 and 5 in 2028, it's not a coincidence. We have to read the writing on the proverbial wall. This is all being done so that it coincides with all of the new litigation that the NCAA is currently dealing with and trying to resolve, the new CBA, the collective bargaining, the potential lockout, all the strong arming, trying to get the MLB to agree to an international draft, to agree to reduction of rounds. All of this is part of the college baseball recruiting process. We as adults, as a community, need to collectively begin to understand your source of frustration is how the vast majority of the industry wants you to be: underinformed, overwhelmed, frustrated. And they're going to ride into the rescue, and they're going to tell you, you should go to a baseball academy, which is, we're going to call it a post-grad school. We're going to give it a fancy name, this academy and that academy. You need to understand where your student athlete is when they get to that fork in the road at 16 years old. Some 16-year-olders, sometimes it happens at 13, sometimes it happens at 14. They discover that the price of admission, or the price they have to pay with regard to daily routines and disciplines and time management, they're not willing to pay that price. It's just not worth it to them. They have other areas of interest. They want to hang with their friends. They may want to just continue to play multiple sports and not really worry about playing a sport in college. Again, look at the numbers. Several million young athletes play youth sports. When it gets to high school, it goes to approximately 500,000. From 500,000, it goes to approximately 60,000. From 60,000, when we start to break down Division I, there's only approximately 12,000 NCAA Division I players, maybe 13 to 14,000 Division II. Same for Division III. NAIA and JUCO comprise of approximately 50 to 60,000 total roster spots. So it's okay if your 16-year-old says, Mom, Dad, this just isn't something that I really want to dedicate a lot of time to. It's okay. Conversely, if your athlete comes to you and says, I want to do whatever it takes, I really want to be a college athlete, or I want to be the best version of myself as a high school varsity athlete, you need that plan. You need that access to people that you can trust, that will help with regard to strength, nutrition, supplementation, speed, skill, all development in those areas. And then we need to find the right fit for your student athlete, because no longer is it about what level or what division. Now it is about creating your resume at the collegiate level, getting in. Remember when I said it used to be, in order to be a major leaguer, you had to be a minor leaguer. And the door was wide open, 60 rounds and internationals, and you had free agents and getting into minor leagues. There were a lot of minor league teams. Now there's only going to be a select few minor league teams. Same with college athletics. You must understand the analogy that I'm drawing here is that the amount of opening roster spots is going to be substantially less, because more athletes are staying longer in college. They're not leaving after their junior year. They're staying because of name, image, and likeness, because of graduate degrees, potentially because of the 5 years in, playing into that window of, you have 5 years of eligibility. So now if they're not leaving off of the back end and they're not going to the draft as they used to, the numbers don't support as many opportunities to get in to college baseball. So therefore, getting in means at any level trying to find the right fit so that you can help build your resume. That is where severe pain is occurring for families. You're trying to strategize Okay, my son's really good. He's a 6A player. He's a varsity player since his freshman year. Doesn't matter. The accolades in high school don't matter. The ability for your high school and travel or summer coach, they have to be able to pick up a phone and they have to know how to evaluate talent. College coaches now, more than ever, they're not relying on just the many voices. It's more the select few that they can trust that have the ability to evaluate talent and that the college coach knows and trusts. And so now it can be we'll get to the JUCO or we'll get to the NAIA or we'll get to the Division 3 or the Division 2 program. We'll get between the lines, we'll create a resume. And then we'll go play college summer baseball. And if that works, and then the portal, which is going to become like major league free agency, that's the point where parents are so frustrated because you do not understand. Your student athletes are not being evaluated off of their peers within the high school demographic. They're being compared to people that are in college baseball, that are in the portal, or they're playing college summer baseball, and they're about to be in the portal. That is what we must understand. I want to make sure that you as parents, and if you have questions, I see all of these questions coming in. I see them on Instagram, and I am going to make sure, I want to make sure that I am offering the right advice. I am not trying to throw any organization, any business under the bus. I get emails and I get direct messages. I have phone calls with families that are beyond frustrating. They feel like every time they get 2 steps closer to their truth, that they end up 3 steps back because now it's the expectation is being pushed further and further ahead. And that is a valid source of frustration. I must tell you that the college coaches, they have a responsibility, first and foremost, not only to the school that they coach at, but to their family. I have to emphasize that. This is not an evil empire, a collection of college coaches that are trying to make your life unhappy. They're trying to make sure that they put the best product on the field. And Major League Baseball is basically saying, we're going to move development to the college game. And when they come out of college, they're going to have played at a higher level. They're going to have practiced at a higher level, and they're going to be prepared with a better maturation mentally and physically to handle the rigors of minor league baseball. The business of baseball is brutal. The travel is brutal. Not everybody flies. People travel hours and hours on buses. They get off of a bus at 4 a.m. They have to have to be at a ballpark at noontime. A minor league life is not glamorous. And oh, by the way, a minor league life is not really all that monetarily appealing, but you are chasing a dream. And again, the only way to become a major leaguer is to be a minor leaguer. And soon, the only way to become a minor leaguer is through college. I want you to think about what I just said. If the collective bargaining agreement comes to fruition and they reduce the rounds from 20 to 10 or 20 to 15, and they remove the high school athlete from draft eligibility, and they put a caveat that you must play college baseball for a minimum of 1 year, possibly 2. What is that going to do to college baseball if you know that the international students are going to have to come and play college baseball in some way, shape, or form? That includes Canada, that includes Japan, China, Korea, Taiwan, Australia, Europe, Venezuela, Dominican Republic. What is that going to do to college baseball? What is the landscape going to begin to look like? And at what point in your development should you begin to listen to let's get our strength, let's get our supplement, let's get our nutrition, let's get it all dialed in? At what point does that become more important than the showcase? At what point does that become more important than the tournament that has time limit games of an hour and 15 minutes at 16 and 17 years old? At what point does that become more important than the pool play and a tournament that has over 1,000 teams or 2,000 teams? Do you know how many teams are in some of these summer tournaments in the big states of Georgia and Florida? Do you actually know how many teams are in those tournaments? Let's see. I'm going to get back to your question here. There you go, William. Welcome aboard, William, in Georgia. Coach, do you see indie ball possibly growing and becoming another level like college that Major League Baseball will draw from? Yes. Chris Knox, yes. There is a reason why college summer baseball leagues are selling franchises for big money. There is a reason why independent baseball, not just the Savannah Bananas, but independent baseball is going to begin to thrive because it was going to create opportunity. There will be at some point, I promise you, there will be a G League or equivalent to the NBA or a minor league like they tried to do in NFL, the European Football League, things that's going to happen with independent league baseball. Because all of these minor league ballparks that are being closed, shuttered, New York Penn League, Pacific Northwest League, what about the Sally League, the Appalachian League? What about these low A seasons throughout the Southeast, the Midwest, the Lansing Lugnuts? Do you think those teams just want to be eliminated? No, they don't. And they are sending congressmen to start to talk about antitrust law violation. Like, this is a big level business move. This is chess. This is high level, three-dimensional chess. And we're still playing checkers. And they want you to keep playing checkers so that you'll need a lot of these people that sooner or later will become not as relevant as they once hoped they would become. I get a kick out of services that want to tell you, that's not worth your time. I had someone tell that to a high-level academic student. Oh, postgraduate's not worth your time. Oh, you're 31 ACT. Yeah, it's not worth your time. Really? What are the odds that that student athlete will play Major League Baseball? Less than 0.1%. But yet we want to tell them that they're 31 ACT. It's not relevant. You shouldn't really worry about college. You should worry about the baseball. So go to this baseball academy and just play baseball for a year. Don't worry about grades. Really? That's what we want to tell people? You have to look at the game that's being played, the business that's being done and conducted way away from your world of social media. You have to look. And when good baseball people, and I'm talking about people that have been in this sport for decades, elite baseball minds that have been general managers of major league teams, when they are saying, and they are saying it, that the game is going in a brutally bad direction, we have to listen. That the development is now going to be thrust upon college coaches. Think of the pressure that is going to put on college coaches. What do you mean we can't win? Well, if you play in the SEC or the Big 10 or the Big 12 or the ACC or the Pac-12, which is reemerging, and you don't have a better than 500 record, how quickly are they going to look to change coaches? It's win and you're in, baby. It's win and you're in. And that's what college coaches want to recruit. They want to recruit strong-minded, disciplined student athletes that are willing to make an investment in themselves. When I say investment, I am not talking monetarily. I am talking about your body, your mindset, your instincts, your baseball IQ, your skill set development, becoming the best version of yourself. How willing are you going to make every day matter? Not just the days you're in college, the days leading up to college. How important is that to you? So yes, the answer, Chris, is independent baseball is going to become very, very prevalent. Do you think that will mean that undrafted free agents will have a better shot at making it to the big leagues? No, I do not. There will be still undrafted free agents, but they will be older college players. They will be older college players. This has to do with, and I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, Major League free agency only happens, and that'll be part of the collective bargaining agreement. Your first 3 years in Major League Baseball, a club can give you any contract that they deem you're worthy of. And then you have 3 years of arbitration. So in theory, a Major League team owns your rights for the first 6 years of your Major League career. Walter, what does this have to do with my son who's 16 years old? It means that Major League Baseball is going to push to have these older athletes coming out of college become younger rookies at 25, 26, and 27, have their 3 to 6 year career, and then they're gone from the game and the next batch moves in. So it eliminates all of those older athletes that used to be 10, 12, 14-year Major League veterans making money in excess of 10 to 15 million. No more. Those days will be cut because they'll just be filling the endless supply of 24 to 27-year-old adults that have gone through college in the minor leagues, and now they're playing Major League Baseball at an older age and not eligible for free agency until an older age of 31, 32, or 33, and most of them will retire. Bigger picture, folks. We need the bigger picture. Anybody want to poke holes in this? Feel free. Knock yourself out. You have somebody that's a recruiting service guy, wants to tell me that I'm full of BS, have at it. Come join me. I'll put you on the podcast, and you and I can engage and have a discussion. I'll do that. No problem. This is about making sure that parents understand there is a bigger picture, and you need to see that picture in order to make informed decisions for your 16 through 19-year-old high school student athlete, not just for baseball, but for the college experience as a whole. Period. End of story. How many players are drafted out of high school currently? That number begins to dwindle each and every year since 2023. William, last year, I believe the total number of college athletes, which was 20 rounds, was approximately 83%. And so that would leave 17% were high school athletes, approximately. Maybe some JUCO athletes in there as well. So 4-year schools in JUCO, I would say that was maybe closer to 85%. So 15% were high school athletes. And once we close that loophole with the new CBA, and it's 100% college athletes that must do a 2-year stint in college, you're going to see a lot of athletes being pushed into college athletics. I am for real. I don't know if you're saying big leagues. So I will tell you that the free agents, when I say free agents, I'm not talking about Major League free agents. I'm talking about free agents like the Major League Baseball is looking to put the international free agent signings into a draft, one draft that includes international and college athletes. And so it's going to be no different than the NBA. So look at the NBA. I guess we could look at the NFL, look at NHL. There's going to be kind of this blending of baseball that's going to occur. And it's happening in 2027 and 2028, which, in 2020 was a long time away. But in 2026, it's not really that far away. So if you're a parent and your student athlete is a 2028 and you're anticipating August 1st, a lot of the 2027 class was very disappointed with August 1st. Are you headed in that direction? You have to ask yourself that. So I want to make sure parents, again, this is live. If you have a question, I encourage you to ask. I see a lot of these coming in. This is not a scare tactic. This is not meant to, create engagement. I'm not trying to cause friction. What I'm trying to do is these Tuesday night discussions are usually based off the amounts of email that Blue Book, we get at Blue Book, and that I get personally via the website or the direct messages that come in via social media. And I get these. And so what I try to do is collect and get a sense of what the questions are. And then I try to use my Tuesday evening platform and share that with parents. And kind of provide answers. And you need to ask yourself this one question. If my student athlete truly desires to be an active participant at the college level with regard to baseball, really any sport, what are we doing as a family? And more importantly, what is my student athlete doing to be sufficiently prepared to be an active participant at the college level? Because if you're leaving that strictly at the hands of your high school coach or your summer coaches, Legion, Babe Ruth, Travel, whatever, you're not being fair to those coaches. There's a certain level of accountability that must be undertaken by a student athlete with regard to their own investment in their own future. It can't be just driven from parents. It can't just be driven through validation of social media. You know, I had a young man that was very disappointed. His college season started, and he had a very good game. And he was like, "Should I post that I just got 4 hits?" No, you shouldn't. Why? Because it's one game, and you need to do at the end of the season. You need to have some perspective. Well, how a college coach is going to know what I'm doing if I don't share my accomplishments? Well, you're putting a big sign over your head that says "me, me, look at me, me." It's one game. College coaches don't care about one game. And they also don't care about me. They care about we. And they also want to know, what does it look like day in and day out? It's easy to ride the emotional high of a great game. What are you doing after the 0 for 8 on the weekend series with 4 punches? What are you doing then? Are you still saying, look at me? Or are you going into into the cages and trying to make yourself better? Social media, it's a dangerous two-way sword, and you can live by it and you can get hurt by it. Just understand that as parents. Social media, are you really using it to the best of your capabilities? Are you really creating a true game plan that is executable by your student athlete? Because you can't execute. You can fill out all the college questionnaires. You can fill out all the essays. You can do all that as parents. Are you really helping your student athletes when you do that? Do you think that college coaches don't see that? When you write an email or a service, a recruiting service. I've never written an email in 38 years of working with parents and working with student athletes. I've never once written an email on a student athlete's behalf to a college directly. I can help prepare and help you navigate how to and what to and where to send it and when to send it. But I never write anyone's emails. Beware of those companies that send emails on your student athlete's behalf. Do you know how many college coaches will say to me, I get thousands of emails a week and I delete 75% of them? Ask any college coach, and if they're being honest, if that subject line looks generic, if the first paragraph looks generic, and there's nothing that captures their attention, do you think they're really going to open it, let alone read it? Do you think the players union will let that happen? Yes, I do. Players union is about the players that are actually in the union. You only get in the union when you're on a 40-man roster. They are not covered. The minor league players are not covered by the Major League Players Association. The minor league players are looking to start a union. But major league players want to take care of major league players. Trust me, I know a lot about that subject, and I can talk for hours, but it's really not about the college process. But yes, the Major League Players Union is going to want, for everything they want, Major League Baseball has to give. So what happens is the Players Association throws out 20 things, and at the end of the day, they really only want 5 of them. The Major League teams put out 50 things, and at the end of the day, they only want 5 things. It's a negotiating ploy. I'll give you that, but you have to give me this. The last thing they're really worried about is minor league players. It's a business. They want it to be as streamlined as possible. They want to pass off the costs associated with development, i.e., minor leagues, to college coaches. Let the colleges They're swimming in name, image, and collective money. The boosters will pay for all the facilities and the amenities. Let them pay for that. Go to college, turf fields, travel on nice buses. Have you ever seen some of the higher level college Division I buses? Have you ever seen a minor league bus? They're not, one is not the same as the other, I can promise you. Hey, coach, how important are things like showcases, camps, and tournaments compared to just game performance? Okay, Zach. Zach, I'm going to tell you right now, showcases are not like camps. Game performance matters. Executing in game matters, but it matters who you're competing against. A college coach wants to see you competing against someone that's superior or as good as a potential college athlete. If you're in a game and you're doing really wildly successful, but you're competing at lower levels, it's just not the same. College camps are not like showcases. Showcases, for the most part, not all, are created equal. So please, for the love of goodness, there are exceptions. So hear me, not all. But the vast majority of showcases, they herd athletes in, they herd athletes out. It's, if you look at the overall speed, arm strength, all of the metrics that are associated with the vast majority of showcases, a lot of college players aren't coming out of those showcases. You're being misled. College camps now more than ever, provide access to student athletes for college coaches, particularly those that have restrictions with regard to August 1st deadlines at Division I and Division II, quiet periods. When you go on campus, those college coaches have access and they can evaluate. And they can evaluate based on the drills that they are going to ask their college student athletes to do. They can have the campers do. And they are great talent evaluators. College coaches, they trust what their eyes see, but they also trust what their ears hear. They see how athletes react. They see how they interact with other campers. They see how they interact with coaches. Camps are a lot different than showcases. Make sure you know the difference between a showcase and a camp. GPA is more important than a batting average. Just saying. Mike, I'm going to say this from the top of my lungs. And I just want parents to understand where I come from. I have worked in the world of high level academics. I don't just talk it, I've walked it. My son turned down several $1 million to go to college. Did he need to go to college to be validated as a baseball player? No. Did I want him to become a rocket scientist? No. As I've stated clearly, they don't give college degrees in Crack-A-Jack boxes. The degree from any college at any level says to a prospective employer or a prospective business that something meaningful was at the end of a 2 or 4 year or 6 or 8 year rainbow. And you were willing to do the work to earn that degree and all that entailed. So, from my perspective, trading athletic ability or the athletic experience for the collective academic / college experience is the best ROI that you as a family can receive, because the odds of you earning major league salary, major league income are negligible. It's a miracle of epic proportion. Look at the sheer numbers of total major leaguers since the late 1800s. You could fill Fenway Park with every adult male that has ever played Major League Baseball and still have empty seats at Fenway Park. That's over 140 years. So think about, what are the odds of your student athlete earning an income that can support a family as a major league athlete? Whereas conversely, if you go to college, You have a great experience. You make great relationships and your network, and maybe you meet your future spouse. You meet great faculty, great network of friends. How does that enhance your future or the quality of your future? Even if you want to be an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter, a fireman, a civil servant, a police officer, the experience as a college student athlete is what you will have with you for the rest of your life. A GPA shows pride in who you feel you are. Meaning, I have a lot of parents that will say to me, "Well, 2.0, there should be room for the 2.0 student." And I say there are plenty of rooms. A C student, an average student, is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. They don't stand out too high and they don't really stand out too low. They're just average, middle of the pack. When you have a higher GPA, it simply says to the world, and nobody really cares in the professional world if you get a 2.8, a 2.9, a 3.6, but you do. Your student athlete does. It means taking pride in their work, in their performance, in their outcomes, being accountable, where they challenge themselves to become the best version of themselves. Stop looking at a wasted sports management degree. Most people never work in the industry that they get their degree in. That may be true, but what if they're just trying to become the best version of themselves, to challenge themselves, to become something better? I used to say to my sons all the time, I simply want you to experience college, to try and elevate your self-esteem, to try to elevate your feeling of accomplishment. That's what college athletics is about. Olani College in California, one of the best California JUCOs in the country. They get athletes from all over the globe. I could rattle off all kinds of JUCO college programs, and they all send athletes to Division III, Division I, Division II, NAIA. And every single athlete I've ever met will always say, school was hard, but I had a great experience. I had a great experience playing college. In fact, I still talk to a lot of my college buddies 10 years later, 20 years later. That's why we're doing this dialogue. So I don't want to bore people any more than I have. And yes, Trevor, it shows discipline. At what age should a college camp be appropriate? I believe at 15 and 16, that's when college camps, I feel, become a worthwhile endeavor. That's my personal feeling, because at 15 and 16, the athletes don't feel out of place. They feel like they fit. They can envision what it's going to look like, what it's going to feel like. They have the motor skills. They have the strength that's beginning to develop. When you're 13, when you're 12, 13, and 14, trying to survive and engage with older athletes, it's intimidating. When you get to be that freshman and sophomore going into that rising sophomore year of school, you know what those older guys look like, what they sound like, what their skills are like. And that's when I would begin to start to go to the college camps, start to see where your skill set measures up, start to listen to how the college coaches are teaching, how they're teaching the game. Trevor, absolutely, unequivocally, I can just say to parents, if you have the ability to offset college or high school academic degrees because your student athlete has skill and you can trade that athletic ability for academic experience and excellence, you win. You're winning. That's what it's all about. That is the mission. That should be the mission statement for 95% of all high school athletes. There are 5% that are just elite. They're elite. They're going to go Division I JUCO. They're going to go Division I NAIA. They're going to go Division I NCAA. Notice what I said. NCAA, NAIA, JUCO, as well as CCAA, Division One, JUCO, NAIA, Division One baseball. That 5% collectively, extremely talented, extremely talented. They're going to get a lot of bites at the apple to play college athletics. The 95% of those athletes that aspire to play college athletics after high school, they have to begin to prepare physically, athletically, academically to find their fit to be able to play in college. And can I ask a question? Are we really trying to develop our children to be the best version of themselves as adults, to be truly prepared to fly when they leave the proverbial nest? Or are we just trying to get all the hype and accolades and validation of being an athlete in a jersey, both during the summer or potentially in college? Is that our goal suddenly? When did we lose our way? When did we lose our way? We need to get back to the reality of the experience of being a child from the age of 12 to 22, now going to 24. That one decade is a powerful decade. Think of all of the stuff that goes on between the ages of 12 and 22 and 24. Just put it all in there: proms, driving, shaving, relationships, breakups, friendships, academics, school, and then we become an adult. I mean, are we really going to try to just trust people who want, it's not worth it. Don't worry about going to a post-grad school. Academics are overrated. Don't worry about lifting weights. Go to the showcases. Go play these tournaments all summer long. And just go to showcases after the tournaments. Some recruiting services are just intimidated because they don't know the realities of what lies ahead. Remember that when you're being asked to write these checks that are 5 digits long, and then most of their guys and girls end up in the portal. I want to make sure that everyone understands that everything that I have expressed here this evening, while long-winded as it has been, are my personal opinions that I have gathered over 38 years of my 63 years of life as an athlete, as a college coach, and as a parent. I have had the blessings of working with families all over North America, all over Europe, now with Australia and China and Japan. I take what I do very seriously. If you want to discuss or debate, as some people are prone to do, you can email me, you can direct message me. I'll give you my cell phone number. You can call and yell at me. You can call me names. You can do whatever you like. It does not matter to me. If you have questions, I encourage you to continue sending those questions. But here's my biggest ask as I close tonight. These Tuesday discussions absolutely critically crush my YouTube. And because they're so long, the average viewer tunes in for 8 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and they go away. This stuff is boring. If you find your way to this point in the video, I'm going to ask you to do several things. One, for the love of goodness, please engage with the video. When it's on YouTube, questions, comments, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share it. Please share this. If for no other reason other than to help continue to share and build a community that will provide access, direct access to college coaches, major league executives, major league former players, major league coaches, former coaches, college players, college coaches, post-grad coaches, post-grad athletes, things that are meant to help inform and educate parents and student athletes. I like to believe that I try to keep it real. I try not to preach, but on nights when I've gone 1 hour and 22 minutes, I have preached and I have expended a lot of hot air. So for that, I apologize. I want to say it is almost the beginning of Division I college baseball season. It is almost the beginning of spring training. If you are near the Phoenix, Arizona, Mesa, Arizona, I will be there watching the Chicago Cubs. If you are a college baseball fan, I will be going to a lot of college baseball games. So let me know a game that you may want us to come and attend. Chinook Seeds and Baseball Blue Book are going to be putting together our year of college baseball, the Diamond Duels. Even if you have a high school game that you'd like me to drop in on, let me know. Please help me spread the word. Please engage with this video on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, go over to YouTube, look up Coach Beede. A, subscribe. B, hit the thumbs up and the notification button. Engage. Make a comment. Make a suggestion. Ask a question. I appreciate it. Have a great week in baseball. The Super Bowl, go Pats. And if you're rooting for your team this weekend, do so. But after the Super Bowl, it's officially baseball season. Let me see if I got any other questions before I tune out. God bless. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Mike. Good luck, Mike. Mike's going to be in Worcester this year, I hope, playing for the Bravehearts. Coach Smith, how do you navigate a school that offers a great baseball opportunity for your child, but they don't necessarily have the academic field that they really want to get into? Mr. Smith, always, always, always find the fit or the major that your student athlete desires to study over the baseball. Baseball is the same at every college in the country. 60 foot, 6 inches from the mound to the tip of home plate, 90-foot base paths. The lines are generally 325 down the lines, 380 to 420 out to center field. Baseball, they use the same ball, the same leather, the same stitching, everything. What's different is each college offers a different academic opportunity, a different culture, a different campus environment. Find the fit. Whereas if your student athlete were to get injured or suddenly lose interest in baseball, would they be happy spending 4 or 5 years at the college that they have chosen? That is the foundational question that you must ask your student athlete. Are you choosing this school because you're going to be happy on that campus, geographically, academically, socially, culturally, over and above baseball? You'll thank me. Thank you, everyone, and see you after the Super Bowl. It will officially be baseball season.